Alright, so welcome back to the video. As always, drop a like, subscribe, leave a comment. And as most of you know, I like to talk about NBA basketball, so I don't really like keep up with like college basketball. But when it comes to like March Madness and then like draft time, like that's when I start to pay attention to like these prospects, because like now they're transitioning to the NBA and like that's more of my territory. I'm not really like a big college basketball fan, but I do watch March Madness. But I do know the big names like Chet, Paolo, Jabari Smith, Drew Timmy. Like I know a lot of the big names, but I don't really know much about any like lower or like just other college players, because I tend to just stay to the NBA. So I'm hoping this video that we're gonna react to tells me about like just like some more players that I don't know and maybe some players I never heard of. But yeah, let's just hop straight into it. As always, video link is always in the description, and I hope y'all enjoy this. Alright, yeah, so like I don't really like have a mock draft or keep up with mock drafts and stuff like that. Shout out Hoop Reference, man. Always dropping bangers videos. Link in the description as always.
Well, that sure was some tournament, wasn't it? As always, March Madness this year was filled with ridiculous amounts of excitement and intrigue. We saw plenty of upsets and Cinderella stories go down.
By the way,
and in
I'm a Duke fan.
Today, many of the top prospects in this year's draft played themselves up draft boards on the big stage. Every month, I post a mock draft leading up to the real thing, to stay up to date on where the best players in the draft stack up against each other, and to try to start to find some good fits for them in the league. And since the last one I posted came before the tournament started, it only seems right for the next one I post now to come after it has. Starting things off with the first pick in the draft, the Orlando Magic select Paolo Banchero from Duke. I'll admit, I was a little shaky on how I perceived.
Yeah, so I've been seeing that the first overall pick is either like Apollo or Chet, but I think Chet played pretty bad in the tournament
and led his Duke team to the Final Four, playing exactly how a top pick should play on the big stage. His footwork, finishing ability, post-game, and shooting at his size, all while demonstrating improved court vision and decision-making.
Yeah, Chet has an amazing, I mean not Chet, but Paolo has like 6'8", has an amazing skill set from what I know.
Would surely welcome him with open arms at the top here. Next up with the second pick, the Houston Rockets select Chet Holmgren from Gonzaga.
Chet, on that young kid, I like that.
A player that people are either really high on or kind of low on, and his performances in March Madness showed exactly why that is. He was stuffing the stat sheets, grabbing a ton of rebounds and blocking
Chet got bonus on weight though.
Game, but he didn't really shoot it all that well, and he was in foul trouble a bit because teams continually went right at him to test his strength. I'm confident that he's a better shooter than what he showed in the tournament, but his frail
for him to go to the Rockets, supposedly, he reminds me of the center that they drafted last year, Alfred Sengun.
Phenomenal defender, and the
I kind of like that.
In his game outweigh the negatives. Up next with the third pick, the Detroit Pistons select Jabari Smith from Auburn. Smith's tournament run ended pretty early after they got upset by Miami, and Smith
Jabari's pretty nice though. I know that.
Shooting just 3 of 16 from the field and 1 of 8 from 3 in that loss. It definitely wasn't the kind of showing you would expect from a #1 pick, but at the same time, it's just one game, and we're not here to overreact.
Yeah, so like the thing I would say that like I do know about like the big names like Jabari Smith is like he has the potential to be like the first overall pick instead of Paolo. It's like that top 3, because like the first pick used to be Chet, Paolo, or Jabari Smith, for what I know. So I wouldn't be surprised if like he goes like higher,
because he has an entire season's worth of impressive two-way performances to go off of. The top 3 of this draft is so close though, and there isn't a clear top prospect like in years past, so Smith unfortunately comes in at 3rd for now because of it. Next up with the 4th pick, the Oklahoma City Thunder select Jaden Ivey from Purdue. Ivey had an up-and-down tournament overall, showcasing so many things to love with his quickness, dynamic athleticism, and aggressiveness with shot-making ability, but he also showcased some concerns with his feel for the game and ability as a passer and playmaker. There's still way too much upside to pass on with him though, and he's still the best of the next tier of talent this year, so he comes in at #4 overall. Up next with the 5th pick, the Indiana Pacers select Keegan Murray from Iowa.
Yeah, no, I don't know nothing about Keegan Murray.
Also, unfortunately, had a short stint in the tournament, getting upset in the first round, but the loss definitely wasn't on Murray, who still scored an efficient 21 points and continued to show off the versatility on both ends of the floor that draft scouts love from him. He's long, he's agile, and he's highly skilled for a forward, so in the NBA, he projects to be a quality secondary scorer who impacts the defensive end of the floor at a high level as well. Next up, with the 6th pick in the draft, the Portland
I heard a little bit something about
select Shaedon Sharpe.
yeah, I heard a little bit something about Shaedon Sharpe.
Sharpe,
Oh my
as I
god,
have
what a
mentioned
dunk!
in the last few times in these mock drafts, remains the biggest mystery of the class because of the fact that we don't even know for sure yet whether he'll be entering this year's draft, along with the fact that he didn't even play a game for Kentucky this year. But I remain incredibly high on his potential after he reclassified to this year's draft class, while previously being the top-ranked recruit for next year. The Blazers have their point guard of the future in Anthony Simons, so adding Sharpe in alongside him in that backcourt at the shooting guard position could become a lethal duo down the line. Next up, with the select AJ Griffin from Duke. Griffin is another player who had a pretty up-and-down tournament where he looked tremendous, creating off the dribble and shooting it at times, while other times his lack of athletic burst was noticeable. The reason why the risk feels worth it with him is because he's one of the youngest players in the entire draft, and he very well may still be recovering from the injuries that he suffered last year.
Oh my, look at that
hope is that eventually he'll get back to where he was before those injuries when he was more explosive. Up next, with the 8th pick, the New Orleans Pelicans select Johnny Davis from Wisconsin. Davis's production tailed off a bit near the end of the season, but it feels unfair to hold that against him, as he was playing through
after the top 3. I haven't really
in the year to try to help his team win.
Heard about none of these players, so this is all new to me.
In the country, so I anticipate NBA scouts will be taking note of that and focus on what he can be once he's back to 100% health. Next up, with the 9th pick, the San Antonio Spurs select Jalen Duren from Memphis. Duren actually matched up with Chet Holmgren in the tournament this year, but Holmgren got the better of him as Duren struggled throughout that game against Gonzaga. Admittedly, Duren isn't much of a scorer in the post,
so he's
his upside offensively is kind of limited, but if you're drafting
the Spurs could use
doing so knowing full well that his strengths come in the areas of
the Spurs could use another big, but I think Jakob got it locked.
Where he excels as the role man. Next up, with the 10th pick, the Washington Wizards select Bennedict Mathurin from Arizona.
That's a fire
name. I
name.
make a mock draft just to keep hammering it home, but this year's draft class is filled with quality scoring talent.
Nasty step back, man.
Guard positions, and Mathurin definitely falls into that category. He had some electrifying performances in the tournament, including a game where he scored 30 in a crazy comeback win against TCU. Mathurin's biggest concern is staying engaged defensively, but he has great size and tools to improve there as he gets more experience under his belt. Next up, with the 11th pick, the Portland Trail Blazers select Ochai Agbaji from Kansas. Agbaji is yet another brilliant scoring talent in this year's draft, and he has shown that he is a flat-out bucket getter on his way to leading his Kansas team to the championship. It's so easy to see how his game will translate to the NBA as a potential 15 to 18 point scorer who hits spot-up threes incredibly efficiently.
That's the thing. That's the thing about Portland, though. They can get all these buckets that they want. They need defenders, man. Like, Portland needs defenders, bro. With Dame was likely, I would say out the door, but Dame's not going nowhere. Anthony Simons is the future of that team. So I could see like them putting together a lot of young cores and just like really just hitting the reset button and just go all in on that. So he could make a great addition, but they need some defense.
Plays tough perimeter defense, so despite being one
he plays defense. All right, hey, there you go.
Easily lottery talent. Next up, with the 12th pick, the New York Knicks select Mark Williams from Duke. Mitchell Robinson
is he a big?
Even free agency summer from the Knicks, and Mark Williams' draft stock has continued to soar throughout the tournament, so this seems like a very good fit. He's a terrific defender and rebounder, he's an active motor around the rim, finishing at such a reliable rate with opportunities that he gets, and does a ton of the little things that help you win.
Oh, what a block! Oh my god!
Next,
that's okay. Hold up. I just became a fan of that dude. But like that's actually perfect. That the Knicks get like a pick and roller and a defender, because like Mitchell Robinson is always hurt and like he's due for like a payday, and I'm not sure that the Knicks are willing to give it to him. So like picking up like a young talent like this, that's kind of a similar game. I think that's low-key a perfect fit for the Knicks.
Pick the Houston Rockets select Tari Eason from LSU.
I
Eason
heard
is
about
one
him.
of the more versatile forwards in this year's draft as a switchable defender who can defend multiple positions, and offensively, he gives you a good balance of production across the board. As long as his jumper continues to improve like it has over the course of the year, he definitely has lottery talent in him. And finally, the last pick of the
I heard about
lottery
Jeremy.
belongs to
Yeah,
the Charlotte Hornets, and they select
I heard about him.
Jeremy Sochan from Baylor. Sochan's showing in the tournament helped him a ton as more scouts got to see how interesting
Yeah,
of a
I remember
player
seeing him in
that
the tournament.
he
He was
is,
balling
that
out.
can play small ball center in lineups while also creating offense off the dribble, which creates a ton of mismatches and is exactly the kind of player that NBA teams love today. He is positionless with a ton of skill, and on a Charlotte team that likes to get out and run, he would be a perfect fit. And with that being said, that's all I have for you today. Make sure to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and comment down below who you want.
All right, and yo, like there y'all have it. So like I said, I don't really keep up with college basketball and stuff like that, but like I know a couple of the big names, like they said, Jabari Smith, Chet, Paulo. So like I know a lot of the big names, but I just wanted to check this video out because like it's getting that time of year where like the NBA playoffs are getting ready to come to an end in like a few weeks, and the draft time is really big, and that's always fun to watch. And like it's always just fun to watch and like learn about new players coming into the league, because like you never know, there's always amazing talent out there. So I wanted to check this out. There's a lot of players on this list that I didn't know, but I know now, so I'm gonna be on the lookout for them. But yeah, if y'all enjoyed it, as always, drop a like, subscribe, leave a comment, and I'm gonna catch you in this video. We out of here. Peace.